My family missed my wedding, then texted me after my $100 M Hotel Empire made headlines. The first thing I remember about my wedding day was the chairs. Rows and rows of white chairs under the California sunset, roses tied to the edges, a string quartet playing softly, guests whispering politely, and 6 empty seats in the front row. 6 seats reserved for my family. Mom, Dad, my older brother Ethan, my Aunt Carla, my Uncle Rob, and my grandmother. Empty. I kept smiling because that's what brides are supposed to do. You smile through everything, through nerves, through mascara threatening to fall, through heartbreak. But I knew they weren't coming. They had made it very clear 2 weeks earlier. 2 weeks before the wedding. We were sitting in my parents' dining room in Dallas. Mom folded her hands like she was about to deliver a sermon. "Lena," she said carefully, "we just don't think this is the right time." "The right time for what?" I asked. "For you to marry Daniel." Daniel, the man who stood by me when I worked double shifts. The man who believed in me when my own father laughed at my business plans. The man who never once asked me to shrink myself. Dad leaned back in his chair. "He's a dreamer, you're a dreamer. 2 dreamers don't build stability." I almost laughed. Because 5 years earlier, when I had pitched the idea of launching a boutique hotel brand focused on tech-integrated luxury experiences, my father had said, "Hotels, Lena, you can't even keep a cactus alive." Everyone laughed that night. Except me. The real reason. It wasn't about Daniel. It was about control. My family had always had a favorite. Ethan. Golden boy. Football captain. Dad's legacy. When Ethan decided to open a mediocre sports bar that closed within a year, Dad mortgaged part of the house to support him. When I asked for a small $20,000 loan to secure my first property lease, Dad said, "If you can't fund it yourself, it's not a real business." So I funded it myself. Credit cards, savings, 3 side hustles, no sleep, and Daniel beside me through every breakdown. The ultimatum. 2 weeks before the wedding, Mom finally said it. "If you marry him without our blessing, we won't come." The room went silent. I looked at Dad. He didn't deny it. I waited for my grandmother to say something. She always had my back growing up. She stared at her tea. I felt something inside me harden. "Okay," I said quietly. Mom blinked. "Okay. You don't have to come." Dad frowned. "Don't be dramatic." "I'm not," I said calmly. "I'm just done begging." Wedding day. So there I was. White dress, perfect makeup, sunset glowing. 6 empty seats. Daniel squeezed my hand. "Are you okay?" I nodded. But when I walked down that aisle, I wasn't crying because I was emotional. I was grieving. Not for the wedding. For the family I thought I had. The promise I made that night. After the reception, when everyone had left, Daniel and I stood alone in the ballroom of the very first hotel I had ever opened. Yes, I got married in my own hotel. Because no one could tell me I didn't belong there. I looked at the polished marble floors, the smart lighting system I had designed, the staff who respected me. And I whispered, I will never chase their approval again. Daniel kissed my forehead. "Good," he said. "Build your empire instead." 5 years later. 5 years is a long time. Long enough to build something unstoppable. My boutique concept turned into 3 properties. 3 turned into 8. Then investors came. Then national coverage. Then expansion to New York, Miami, Seattle. And then, the headline. Tech-driven luxury brand skyrockets. CEO Lena Carter builds $100 M Hotel Empire before 35. I was in my penthouse office, overlooking Manhattan when my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I almost ignored it. Then I saw the message preview. Dad. I hadn't heard from him in 5 years. The message read, "Saw you on the news. We need to talk." I stared at it for a long time. Then another message came. "Proud of you, kiddo." Kiddo? He hadn't called me that since I was 12. My assistant knocked softly on the door. "Ms. Carter, CNBC wants a follow-up interview." I looked at my reflection in the glass. The girl with empty chairs at her wedding was gone. In her place stood the CEO of a $100 million hotel chain. And for the first time, I had the power. I typed back. About what? 3 dots appeared immediately. And that's when I knew. They didn't miss me. They missed what I became. I didn't call him. I made him wait. 5 years of silence earns at least 5 hours of suspense. By the time I finally pressed call back, I was sitting in my corner office overlooking Manhattan, 23 floors above the city that helped build me. He picked up on the first ring. "Lena." His voice sounded older. Smaller. "Yes." A pause, then a nervous chuckle. "Wow, CEO of a $100 million hotel chain. That's something." "I was always something," I said calmly. "You just didn't see it." Silence. Then he sighed. "We made mistakes." "We." Interesting how failure becomes collective when success shows up. "What do you need, Dad?" I asked directly. Another pause. And then he said it. "It's about Ethan." Of course it was. The Golden Boy. Ethan had started another business. A luxury sports lounge franchise concept. Translation. A rebranded bar with expensive couches and no real business plan. Dad had co-signed loans. Again. This time, it wasn't $50,000. It was $2.3 million. And it failed, spectacularly. "He's in serious debt," Dad said quietly. "Investors are threatening legal action." "And," I asked, "and you have the resources to help?" There it was. Not "we miss you." Not "we're sorry." Not "we should have come to your wedding." Just numbers. I leaned back in my chair. "You didn't come to my wedding because you thought I was unstable," I reminded him. "You told me Daniel and I would fail." That was different. "No," I said softly. "It was." The invitation. Dad tried a different tactic. "Why don't you come to Dallas? Let's talk as a family." Family. The word tasted strange. But something inside me wanted closure. So I said yes. Not for them. For me. The reunion. When my car pulled into my parents' driveway, it felt smaller than I remembered. Or maybe I had just grown. Mom opened the door before I could knock. She looked at me like I was a stranger on television. "Oh my God, you look incredible." I wore a tailored white blazer, black heels, hair sleek and simple. Confidence is the best accessory. Ethan was sitting at the dining table. The same table where they once told me I wasn't capable. He didn't stand up. "Hey," he muttered. No hug. No apology. Just wounded pride. The ask. Dad laid out spreadsheets on the table like I was a bank. "If you inject $2 million, he said, "we can settle investors and relaunch properly." I scanned the numbers. It was a sinking ship. And everyone in the room knew it. "Why would I do that?" I asked calmly. Mom clasped her hands. "Because we're family." I looked at her. "Were we family when you skipped my wedding?" No one spoke. Ethan finally snapped. "You're really going to hold that over us forever?" I turned to him. "You laughed when Dad said my business idea was stupid. That was years ago. So was my wedding." The air felt thick. Dad tried again. "You have more money than you need." "And you taught me," I replied. That if someone can't fund their own business, it's not a real business. His face went pale. He remembered saying it. The twist. Hear what they didn't know. 2 months earlier, my company had acquired a struggling boutique property in Dallas. Quietly, strategically. It was 2 blocks away from Ethan's failed lounge. And our expansion plan included transforming the entire block into a high-end, mixed-use luxury destination. His building, right in the center. And because of his debt, the bank was about to seize it. Guess who had first right of purchase? Me. The offer. I folded my hands. I won't give you $2 million, I said evenly. Mom's face fell. Ethan cursed under his breath. But, I continued, I'll buy the building from the bank after foreclosure. Fair market value. Ethan shot up. That's my business. No, I corrected him. It's the bank. Dad stared at me. You planned this. I planned my success, I said calmly. What you did with yours isn't my responsibility. The truth hit them all at once. I wasn't there to save them. I was there to close a chapter. Final part, the headline. 2 months later, the news broke. Carter Hospitality expands Dallas Luxury District, acquires landmark property for $3.8 M. That landmark property, Ethan's old building, renovated, rebranded, profitable within 6 months. The day the article went live, I got another text from Dad. You didn't have to do it like this. I stared at the message for a long time. Then I finally replied. Yes, I did. The real revenge. Here's the part no one expects. Revenge wasn't taking the building. It wasn't the headlines. It wasn't watching them realize they underestimated me. The real revenge was not needing them anymore. Daniel and I renewed our vows on our 5th anniversary. Small ceremony. Private island property owned by my company. No empty chairs this time. Only people who showed up. Before I walked down that aisle again, Daniel asked, any regrets? I thought about the girl who cried behind perfect wedding makeup. I thought about the silence, the doubt, the text that said, proud of you, 5 years too late. No, I said, because sometimes the greatest success story isn't becoming rich. It's becoming untouchable. The end.